Hello everyone. So in this video, we'll be learning what are lists in Python, how to make one, why are lists used, and of course what all can be done with a list in Python. Suppose I want to store the name of all my employees in Python. So how could I do that? One of the way to do is have a variable employee1 name and store that person's name. Then employee2 name, this is another variable, store a v. Employee3 name, and so on up to how so many ever employees you have. This is going to be very difficult, but let's see ahead. Then I have to store their ages also. That I'll do employee1 age, employee2 age, up to all my employees, say 100 of the employees. But do you think this is a preferable task? Not at all. The best way to do this is using list. So let's see how to use this. So let me make a list of all the employee name. The variable is employee name. Lists are made using square bracket. Inside this I will write all my employee name in one by one using quotes and separated by comma. So this makes up my list of all the employees. Names are strings, right? You can't do any division or multiplication on them. So I have to store them inside quotes. This makes my list of all the employee name together. Let's run this cell. So this is my list. Not necessary that a list can have only strings. A list can have varied number of data types in a single list. So let's store employee1 detail where I'll have more than one data type. So starting from the name Neha to the second element has age of Neha 25 to the gender of Neha female, and is she permanent employee? If she's a permanent, I'll put true. So you can see the first data type, the first element data type is string, second integer, last boolean. So you can have many data types together inside a list. This is what you call as a list. Let me print this and show you. Print employee1. Let's see. So it's a list. It's having all the element. If you want to see what is the type of this, then also it's going to be what you call as lists. The type of employee1 is list. So that's simple. Let's have it more zoomed. Okay, this is what you call as list, where you store a collection of items together. Next is list indexing. Now what might happen? You might want to index. You might want to see what is the name of your first employee. Okay, so let me just bring all my employees name here so you can see it easily. So these are all my employees. Now what I want to do, I want to extract only my first employee. Now for now, imagine that all of these employees have been put into this employee name variable according to some ranking. Okay, so Neha is the first, she's given the first priority, Avi is in the second rank, and so on. So let's say I want to extract my first rank employee. So what I'll do, this is called indexing, by the way. So I have to write the name of the variable, that is employee name. That's the name of my variable. You can see employee name. Then I have to write square bracket. Inside the square bracket, I have to write the position which I want. So if you have forgotten, let me remind you. The first element is always given the position 0 in Python. The second 1, then 2, and so on. So what do I want? I want my first position, that is the first element. So instead of writing 1, if I write 1, you see what you will get. You will get Avi. But Avi is our second element. That basically tells us that the indexing in Python starts from 0. So actually I want my first element, that means I want my 0th element. Now you see, this makes our indexing more simple. Suppose I wanted the third position. Who is in the third position? That is, I actually want Janet. Now we want her as the third position person, but according to Python and how Janet has been stored in the employee name variable, it comes like this: Neha as 0 position, Avi at 1 position, and Janet as the second position. That's how indexing works in Python. So to extract my third position element, I have to write 2 over here. I have to write 1 less. This gives me Janet. So now you know how indexing works. Now let's go to slicing. Slicing, again I'll keep my variable with you so that you can know properly. Suppose I don't just want to extract a single rank element. Suppose I want my first 3 rank employees. So how to do that? So I have to write employee, the variable name as we wrote before, the square bracket as we wrote before, but now from where to where I have to put that. So I want from the starting. So starting index is 0. Up till where do I want? I want 0, I want 1 and I want 2. Up till the second index. Let me see what we get. But we got only 2. What does this mean? In slicing, the second parameter after the colon that you pass is not considered. Whatever comes before that parameter, that is, suppose I have written 2. So 2 is not considered. Up till 1 it is considered. So if I want 3 of them, I want Neha, I want Avi, I want Janet. So instead of 2, I have to write 1 extra position, that is 3. Now when I enter, I see I get till Janet. So how slicing works? The starting whatever you write is considered as 0 position, it is considered. Then the last one that you write, that's your last position that you want, it is not considered. One position before that is considered. So if I write 3, only 0, 1, 2 will be selected. Suppose let me write 4. Let's see what comes. You see, 0th element Neha comes, first element Avi comes, second element Janet comes, and third element Mikarsh comes. But I had written 4th element also. 4th did not come because what you write at the last is not considered. 1 index before that is considered. So always write an extra index 1 when you are doing slicing. Now suppose that I could have extracted this in one more way. Let me show you how. Now I want my first 3 employees, right? I want my first 3 employees and I had written from 0 to 3. 0, 1, 2 and 3. Actually I want my first 4th employees. So 0 to 4 is how it works. But now I could have actually removed this 0 and then have got the same answer. Now what does this mean? This basically means that when I have written nothing over here, it will take from the starting. Do you get that? It will take from the starting irrespective of whatever is my second. My second is the 4th one, right? So it will take 0, 1, 2, 3. 4th one is omitted. 1 before is taken. Now suppose I write my first index. Say I write 4 as my first index, but I don't write my second index. Let me run and see what happened. So what did it do? It took my 4th index. What is my 4th index? Neha 0, Avi 1, Janet 2, Mikarsh 3, Anushka 4. So it took the 4th index, that is Anushka, and then it took Anam also. What does this mean? It will, when I don't write anything after the colon, it means it will take till the end of the list. Whatever is there up till the end. Suppose I had written 2 and then. So it started with the second position, that is Janet. 0 being Neha, 1 being Avi and Janet being 2. It started with 2. So 2 as it is, it was taken, but it went on up till the last one because I didn't specify when to stop. This is how slicing works in Python. What if I didn't write both of them? I just wrote employee name and I left it empty with a colon. What will this do? So because before the colon I have not mentioned anything, it will start from the starting. And after the colon also I have not mentioned anything, so it will go up till the end and extract me the whole of this. So, I could actually store this. I could store this as top 4 of my employees. These are my top 4. And whenever I'll print top 4, printing is used to print something on the screen. Top 4 employees. You can see this list of the top 4 is extracted. This is what you call as slicing. Now that I have all my names, okay, I have all my name, I want to actually check how many names do I have. Now here it's very visible that I have only 6 names, but you know, when you're storing these employee names, you don't have 6 employees, you have more than that. So you want to store, you want to see how many employees are there. That basically means how many elements are there in your list. The function that you use is len, len, that's the short form. And whose len do I want? I want the employee name variable's len, and I'll press Control Enter to run this cell, and it tells me 6. There are 6 elements in your employee name list. So you can say first element, second element, third element, fourth, fifth, sixth. Now don't get confused with the position. The position given to Neha is 0. But when I'm counting how many elements are there, I will say this is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the element way. Okay, that's the length function to count how many elements are there in your list. Next comes membership of elements. Membership is basically used to check if something is there or not, if an element is there or not. Now this is my employee name. I want to check, is Anam in my employee name variable? So I have to say Anam in employee name. I'm checking this. Is she there? And let me press enter. False. Why did they say false? Because I have capital A and I have written small a over here. Small and capital A are two different things in Python, okay? That's why it gave me no. Small a Anam is not there. But when I changed it, so Anam is a string, so I have to write this in quotes. In is the keyword that you use to check, and employee name is the variable, the list's name in which you want to check Anam. And this gave me true. Let me check somebody else. Let me check a not in. There is something called as not in, which means that is someone not there in my list. So let me take Samantha. Samantha. 1 minute. Yeah, Samantha not in. What you have to say? Not in. This is the keyword that is specifically used to check something. Not in employee name. Yeah, true. So not in told me that no, she is not there. So this is used to check. You know, if you have a long list, you can't check each and every element by your eyes, right, directly. So you can use this method to check if you have entered an employee name or not. Now mutating lists means changing the list, changing some elements, adding some stuffs and all of those. So let us take some other list, that is this one, where I am having details of a specific employee, the name, the age, the gender, and the is that person a permanent employee or not. Now suppose I want to change. This Neha was not permanent, so I wrote, suppose she was not permanent, so I wrote true. My fourth criteria is not permanent. If that person is not permanent, I have to write true, and if that person is permanent, I have to write false. Now she becomes permanent, so I want to convert this true to false. How will I do that? So what I have to take, I have to take my variable, where my list is, the name of my list variable, employee 1. Like how we did indexing, we have to do the same thing. Now I want true to be the indexed out. So Neha is the first element, so it's given the 0 position, 25 1 position, female 2 position, and true as the third position. So I have to index this throughout 3. Now when I enter this, you can see it's coming true. So I have removed this true, I have indexed this true. I want to change this, so I have to just write equal to. Equal to is called as an assignment operator. That means you are directly assigning the value. So I am assigning the employee 1 third position as false. It will automatically change it. Now let me print and show you, is the change happened or not. Employee 1, let's see. Yeah, so now in place of true it became false. So it's basically mutating something. Maybe, you know, now in the other year, it's 1 year has passed and Neha has grown 1 year old. I want to change her age to 26 now. So I can do the same thing. Let's see how. I will say the name of the list where I want my element to be replaced or changed. Now I have to start. What is that index of the age in this list? So Neha being the first element has index 0, and 25, the age being the second element, has index 1. So I have to write 1. You can see I press Control Enter and I see 25. This is the position for 25. I have to directly say she is becoming 26. So please change it to 26. Now when I print, let's print and see. Print in brackets, I have to write the variable whose I want to print, and I can see she has become 26. This is called as changing elements, where you're changing element. Now I want to show you one more thing. It's not necessarily that you have to, you had to change them differently. Suppose, let me get back to my original list. This is my original list. Now suppose I want to change 25 and through together. Or maybe let me just make things simple for you. Let's have this over here and over here. When I want to change few things together, that is basically in continuation. That is basically, now I want to change 25 to 26 and true to false. This thing together. So what I can do is, instead of indexing that I used before, here I used indexing, right? From this, take the index third and change it to false. I can use slicing, where I'm telling this is Neha, 0th position, female 1st position, 25 2nd position. Start from the 2nd position, go up to the 3rd position. So the last element will not be accepted. If I write 3rd, I have to write one extra, 4. That's what we learned in slicing. Then equal to, so this is basically 2 elements. What does this mean? 2nd element and 3rd element. 4th element is not counted. That's how slicing works. Change this to 26, comma, false. Okay, now let me, so I'm just doing the change together. Now let me print and show you employee 1. Now you see it changed together. So if there's something in continuation and you want to change something in continuation, you can actually do slicing instead of just single indexing. That's how you can change elements. Now that was about changing. What if I want to add something? Suppose there is a new employee in my company. So I want to add that employee's name in my company. So what will I do? So I have to say whatever, now my list that is storing all my employee details is employee name. Am I correct? Let me just print and see. Print employee name. What is it? Okay, so these are all my names. Now I want to add one more name to this. I want to add the name at the last. That's where you use the append. It's called as append. The method is append. How will I add a name? I have to write the list to which I want to add. I want to add it to employee name list. And what I want to do, I want to append. So the method, whenever you apply any method, you have to use dot. What is the method name? Append. What do I want to append? I have to write this in brackets, in round brackets. Suppose the name of my new employee is Suraj. And because it's a name, obviously it will come in strings. Let us print our employee name and check again. So print employee name. Let's see if Suraj is added. Let me run the cell. I forgot to run it. Now let's run it. Yeah, so Suraj gets added at the last. But what if I don't want to put him at the last? Maybe he's a ranking employee which I didn't add before. I want to add him at the 3rd position after Avi. So that's when you use insert, because append will always append at the last. So that's where you use insert. Now how will I do insert? Let's see. So I have to write, as always, the name of the list whom I want to insert, and then dot insert, because that's a method. So dot, and insert is the name of the method, and as always the round bracket. Now inside there are 2 parameters. That's why I am putting a comma. The second parameter is what do you want to insert. So let me just put, I want to insert Suraj. And it's a string, so I have to write it in quotes. But which position do I want to insert? I want to insert after Avi. So what is that position? Neha is the 1st position. So what is the index? 0. That's the position. It may be visually to us it's in the 1st position, but in Python it is stored at what you call as the 0th position. Avi at the first position, and then I want Suraj to come. So that's the first position Avi, and then is the second position. So I want Suraj to be at the second position. So now let me just run the whole thing again. So this is my list of the employee name. Let me put employee name, and I want to make changes. I want to, from in the employee name list, I am inserting using the dot insert, and in the bracket I have to write which position, second position, that is just after Avi. 0 position, first position, and then is the second. What do I want to insert? Suraj. Let me run this cell. Now let's print and see, did it work how we wish, or it was appended at the last. Yeah, now see, it's come after Avi. So this is what you call as inserting, when you're inserting at the center of the list, whenever a place of your choice, a position of your choice. Next is what you call as extend, an extend method. Now in append, you would allow to add only a single element at the end of the list. Extend is used to add more than one element at the end of the list. So I have to write my employee underscore name, and then I have to write dot extend, that is my method. Employee name is the list to which I want to add many elements. Dot extend is my method. Then bracket. A method will obviously have a round bracket. Inside the bracket I have to write what do I want to extend it with. So maybe I want to add a few names, maybe Annie, and I want to add Rosh. These are the 2 people. I can have more people, and I will press Ctrl Enter to run the cell. Now let's print and see, did this work? Print employee name. Now you can see after Anam I had Annie and Rosh, and Suraj was used to insert at the center. So that's what you call extend. I could have actually added more people. I would have had added Rohan. And then when I run this cell again, I see after Rosh I have Rohan. And you might be wondering why this Rosh is repeated, because I've run this cell twice and this cell twice. That's something you should not do, because I'm showing you I'm running a cell twice again and again. So there's duplication again and again. There is being extending. Now let's come to what you call as removing elements. We learned how to add elements. Now what if I want to remove element? The first one is using the del keyword. Let me just print the employee name list for you so you know. So this is our employee list name, starting from Neha, number 1 employee, with the 0th position. It is at the 0th position, and Rohan at the last position. Now say I want to delete Neha. I don't want Neha. Maybe Neha has left my office. So I want to delete her from my employee name list. So you use the delete keyword, that is del. From where do I want to delete? From this employee name variable. And in square bracket I have to write the position. In employee name, that's okay. I want to delete from employee name. But which element do I want to delete? So that's Neha, and Neha is at which position? 0th position. So inside the square bracket I have to compulsory write the position and press enter. Now let's print employee name and see. Here you see Neha is automatically removed. But that was about removing a single element. What if I wanted to remove more than one elements together? So it's the same thing, okay? Delete will be there, the name of the variable, the list who you want to delete, and there should be a space in between the two. Inside this square bracket I'll do slicing instead of indexing. So maybe I actually also want to delete Avi and Suraj together. Okay, let me make it more difficult. I want to delete Janet, Mikarsh and Anushka. I want to delete these 3 people out from my list. So how will I position them inside this? So where do I want to start from? Obviously it's going to be slicing because it's not one element. So there's going to be a colon. But what before colon? So let's see the position. First Avi, Suraj, Janet. So what is the Janet's position? It's coming 3rd. But according to Python position, as it starts with 0, it comes 1 less as the position. So Janet is at the 2nd position. So I am saying okay, start deleting from the 2nd position, that is Janet. then the third position Mikarsh, then the fourth position Anushka. But you know, if I write fourth position, it takes only up to one less, that is only the third position. It will take Janet and it will take Mikarsh, the second and the third position. Does not take the last, what you write after colon, it takes one less. So instead of 4, I will write 5. And now when I print my employee name, you will see that after Suraj, Janet is not there, Mikarsh is not there, Anushka is not there. So it took the second position, it took the third position, it took the fourth position, and it deleted. It didn't go for the fifth one because the last one is omitted, it is not considered. This is what you call as the delete keyword for removing element. Now there is a better method that you call as the remove method. So how do you do that? So I have to, this is a method, this is actually a method, that delete was a keyword that you used to do. So I have to say employee underscore name, that's the name of my variable. Let me put O over here, that's the name of my variable. Then because it's a method, and you must know by now that for method you have to write dot and the name of the method, so it's remove. Inside the bracket I have to write what do I want to remove. Now this is going to be more simple for us, okay. If I go back to delete, I had to actually mention the position, and if you have a long list of people, it's going to be so difficult for you to get the position and then remove. But remove method makes things simple for us. You have to directly write the value that you want to remove. Say now whatever list I've left is from Avi to Rohan. I want to remove Rosh. So I have to just write in quotes, please remove Rosh. I'm putting quotes because Rosh is a string. If it could be a number, I would have definitely not put a string. And then I press enter. Now let us print and see. Now you see Rosh has been removed. Let's get to pop. First let me print my list of the employees. So this is my list of the employees that's left after cutting and chopping all of them. Next is pop. Pop is going to be similar to delete, where you will be having to put the index of what you want to remove, but it's a method, so the way in which you write will be different. So I have to write employee name, who's from where I want to delete something. Then it's a method, so dot will come. You write method with dot and the name of the method. Then comes the bracket, the round bracket. Inside this you have to write the index of what you want to delete. So index, and obviously I'll just get back to you so that you remember. In delete I had to put this thing of square bracket, okay, don't forget that. But here in pop I don't have to put a square bracket, I have to put a round bracket because pop is a method. Inside this I have to write the position. Say I want to remove out Janet, okay. So what is the position of Janet in my employee name list? Avi is 0, Suraj is 1 and Janet is 3. So I have to write 3 and I'll press Ctrl Enter. Now what is happening? 0, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, Mikarsh was 3, okay. Janet is 2 position. Avi 0, Suraj 1 and Janet 2. Now I'll just run it again. Now you see what is happening. It is showing me pop has this speciality because it will make you confirm what you have removed. You in the delete case, I wrote the index and I just deleted it. I would actually not make sure what I have deleted it because it's an index. Here what was the case? Here we were actually supplying. In the remove method, we were supplying the name. So we were sure what we are deleting. So pop makes things more simpler. It will delete that element, it will remove that element, and will also show you what it has deleted. That was the pop method. Let's look at some simple methods here. Suppose, now this is what you call as the count method. Suppose I want to count, okay, maybe I am just, I have my employee. Let me again print my employee name, okay. So I want to check, if I have not repeated any one of these names, are every one of them only once, so I want to check Avi, how much times Avi has been there, is it 0 or more than that? So I have to say, now count is also a method. So where do I want to count? Employee name. What do I want to do on this list? I want to count, and count is a method, so dot count. What do I want to count? I want to count Avi. So I have to write this in quotes because Avi is the name and it's a string. So it is telling me that Avi has come only once. I could actually check something else also. I could have checked Annie. It is telling me it is coming once. So if they come more than one time, they will tell you. Now all of you might have found this one thing very difficult, like maybe the pop method where you had to put your index, or maybe the delete method where you had to put the index of what you want to remove, and it was so much of counting, confusion, 0 1 2. I also get confused sometimes. And when you have big huge lists, it's difficult to know what the index is of a particular element to remove it. So here is what the index method comes. So you have to simply write the name of your list, and the method is dot, and the name of the method is index, and brackets, and inside that simply write whose name do you want, whose index do you want. So I want of Rohan. I want to know what is the index of Rohan. So it is automatically telling me it is at the 4th position. Let me make sure, and that are they telling me right or not. So I'll copy this and see if they were right. Sorry, let me just copy it. Now you see, this is 0th position, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So they give me, yeah, Rohan is at the 4th position. I could check for Annie. Now you can automatically guess before I press the answer. It's at the 3rd position. So yeah, Avi 0, Suraj 1, Anam 2, and Annie at 3. That is the index method. So let's get back our huge list that we have been chopping off from so long. So starting from Neha till Rohan. Okay, so this is my employee list. Let me run the cell. Now you can see, they have been put in some order. Now somebody tells me that, I want all of these people's name in an alphabetical order. I don't want this, I want this list, but please give me, I prefer to have alphabetical order name. So please change that. So there is where the sort method comes. Sort is also a method. So again the method format will be used. How do you do that? Employee, the name of the list that you want to sort, the method dot sort, and inside the list you don't really need to pass any parameter now, and you press enter. Now let's print our employee name and see what is it looking like. Now you see it started with Anam, then Annie. I think we are having 2 Annie. Let's check. Do we have 2 Annie? Yeah, we are having 2 Annie. So it took 2 Annie, then Anushka, then Avi, then it went order in an alphabetical order to give us the right people. Let me just remove the extra people that are coming more than once. So it will become easy as we do our work. Okay, yeah, now done. So now this is what you call as the sort. Now one thing that I will tell you is when you apply this sort method, it is going to change your list. It is going to sort it in an order. Now what if I wanted to not sort in ascending order but in descending order, from the highest letter, that is S, to the smallest letter A. So inside this sort I will pass a parameter reverse equal to true. Okay, let's see, and now I'll enter. Now let me print my list and see. Now you see it's coming in the reverse order, so it's your choice. Reverse is set false. Okay, so whenever you just sort, it will come in ascending order, but if you prefer reverse, you have to specify true. But there's a problem in this sort. It is actually modifying your original list, and at times you are not expecting that, you are not wanting that. You want to just want to see the alphabetical order, or you don't want to actually modify it, but have a look at it. You want your original list to be in the ranking form. That's where sorted function comes. This is not a method, this is a function. How do you use this? So functions have this way of using. You have to say sorted, and inside the brackets you have to write who do you want to sort. So I'm telling I want to sort employee. Sorted employee name, that's the name of my list, and I'll press enter. So now you see it's giving me the sorted version. But if I, okay, let me just Okay, it is just giving me the sorted version. Now let me go and change the, now let me just print my list and see. Did it change my list or not? Did it change? No, my list was in descending order. I had made it in descending order in this step. Sort had permanently made my original list in descending order. But when I ran sorted, I just got a view of all of them in an ascending order. But it did not affect my list. Okay, now I could have actually stored it in some function and I would have seen, but the main idea behind here is that it is not changing my original list. That's sorted. You know, sometimes you don't want to modify your original list. There is now you can use reverse. You know, we used reverse. Let's apply a parameter to sorted. What if I wanted to have sorted over here? I could actually have reverse, okay, the spelling is wrong, equal to true. This is the second parameter. The first parameter is the list which I want to get sorted. I want to view as sorted, and reverse, if I want to view reverse, yeah, I want to view it in reverse. Now press enter. So now you see it is showing me in reverse. But when I print my employee name, my employee started with Suraj, ended with Anam. Now also it is same. This did not have an effect. It just viewed me and it kept my original list as it is. So that's sorted. You actually have a reverse, you know, to function on itself, in itself, that will help you get your stuffs reversed. That's a method, I think, so not a function. So let me try this. So I want employee name dot, what do I want to do? I want to reverse it, and inside the bracket I will just keep it empty. Before that, let us just print and see. So you can, I'll not print it, you can see over here. So it's starting with Suraj, it's going up to Anam. What do you mean by reverse? Please do it the opposite way. Reverse, now here when you were doing, you were reversing it. So what did it mean? Sort it in alphabetical order. And do you want the reverse? Yeah, the alphabetical order should be reverse from highest to lowest. That's what reverse meant here. Sort and sorted is for ascending descending order, but reverse is for just doing your list the other way around, okay, making your list the other way around, irrespective of any ascending or descending. So when I enter, and now when I will print my list and see, irrespective of ascending or descending, it will print it, and it just reversed it. So it started with Anam, ended with Anam, it started with Anam now. So it is just reversing it. It's not arranging in ascending or descending anything. Next comes the plus operator. What do you do? What do you mean by the plus operator? Suppose it basically means that, I'll just make things simpler for this. Suppose I have a list 1 that is equal to 1, 2, 3, and I have another list 2. Okay, 1 minute. I have another list 2 which is 4, 5, 6. Okay, this, I have these two lists. What if I want to combine them? Now I can just say list 1 plus list 2, and I will save this inside another list 3 equal to, okay, list 1 is not defined. Let us just run these cells that we have not ran. Now I'll come and run this. So now let me print this list 3. Let's see how it looks. So what it did, it took 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6 was appended to it. So after 1, 2, 3 got over, 4, 5, 6 came. So it was not like the first element is added to the second. There's no addition that is happening over here. There's just appending that is happening over here. That's the plus operator. Now suppose I have another list. Let me just give you our employee example only. So there are these new employees that are coming in the company, and I have to have something called as a variable employee years. The years of these employees are in the company, and I expect it to be 0. So suppose there are hundreds of these employees. So you have to type 0, 0, 0. One of the way in which you could do this is, what I'll do, I'll just store it as employee year is equal to what the list should be. List should have 0, and I will multiply it how many times I want this same number. When you're having a same element list, same value, suppose I want it to be 100, I have 100 employees, and I press enter. Now let me print this list and show you how does this list look. Print employee year. Again a mistake. These mistakes are very common, okay? So you can see, so these are hundreds of them created for us. So this is one thing that makes simpler, not so commonly used, but you can use them, of course. Now comes copying list. So copying list is again very common. You know, you have already a list and you want to copy that list and maybe do some changes or something like that. So this is where copy comes. Now the first most common way in which you can copy is using equal to. So let me print employee name. This is the name of my employee. So these are all my names. Okay, let us not play with this. Let us play with the other one. So let's take print employee 1. Okay, so let's take, I have this. Now what I want to do, I want to copy this. So one of the way in which I can do is employee 1, let's keep the name underscore duplicate. Okay, so it's my employee 1 duplicate. It's the same thing. Now what can I do? I can just simply say this is equal to what employee 1 is. Okay, this is what I'm telling. Press enter. So what does this mean? When I'm directly copying with an equal to, this has a very different meaning. This is not two different lists. Employee 1 dupe and employee 1 is a single list. Both of them have just two different names and they both are pointing towards the same list. Let me show you how. Let me write what is the ID of employee 1. That's the ID. How is it stored with what value? And then let me print what is the ID of this different another one. Let's see what is the ID. Okay, let us just print them one by one. So this is the ID for this and for the other one. Now what you will see is you can actually see their ID is same. They are having the exact same ID. That basically shows that they are pointing to the same object, the same list, and that they are not two different lists. So what if I change one of them? So let me take employee 1. Let me append something to employee 1. So the employee 1 list, I am appending, I am adding a new element, years of experience, say 20. Okay, I'm adding this to employee 1 and I have pressed enter. Now let's see what happened. Let's print both of these. Okay, I'll just print employee 1 first, print employee 1, and also print employee 1 underscore dupe. Okay, I have this problem. What is the problem now? Employee 1 dupe is not defined. Where is my employee 1 dupe? Okay, I had 2 over here. Okay, sorry. Let me just make this again proper and run this again. Okay, now let me run this and let's see. Now you can see that this 20 was, I had only appended to employee 1, but this automatically got appended to 2 as well. Now let's do the other way around. Let's append something to duplicate and see. Okay, so employee 1 underscore duplicate and appending, that's why dot append, and I'm appending name of the spouse, Ritvik. Okay, now let me enter. Now let me see when I print both of them, what is the result? I have appended to the duplicate list. Okay, now when I append, Ritvik is added to both of them. I think I ran this cell twice, so that is why it is coming 2 times. So this is what you called as equal to, copying using equal to. It is just making that single list and it is making this duplicate list that we are making the second time. It is just pointing towards the other one. Changes made to the one will also make changes to the other. Now let me just copy this again and bring back our this so that we can do some other kinds of copy. So employee 1 is equal to this. Okay, Now comes what you call as copy. Now there are chances, I just want to copy. I want to make an independent list which is not dependent on this list. I want to duplicate all of these elements in that list, and changes to any one of them will not make any changes to the other. Here is where you use copy. Now let's copy this using the copy method. So I have to say employee1 underscore duplicate is equal to employee underscore 1 dot copy bracket में nothing, and I have to press enter. So what do I mean? Employee 1 duplicate is equal to, means what is going to go inside employee 1 duplicate? From employee 1, take employee 1 list, that is this above list, and apply this method on this. What is this method? Because it's a method, I have to write dot, and what is the method's name? Copy, and I have to write this bracket. Now what will happen, all these elements that are there in employee 1 will come automatically in this employee 1 duplicate, and changes made to one of them will not affect on the other, because these are two independent lists that have been made. Now you see, now let me just make a change and show you. So let me append something, employee 1 dot append. Let's append the another thing that we were appending, the number of years. So 20 years, okay. So 20 years, okay. No, I can't have 20 years, 2 years. Now I'll print my employee 1 dump, and see I've appended to the first list, okay. Now there's no effect on this, though if I print employee 1 and check, there is this 222 added because I've run this cell many times. So what happened? It was appended here. So copy method basically creates two different lists independent of the other, where one of them is copied from the other. Next comes nested list. Now if you remember, I told you list can contain any data types in them. Lists can contain strings, integers, tuples. It can also contain a list in itself. So let's take an example of our employee 1, okay. So I'll just copy this. This is our employee 1, data of our employee 1. Now suppose in place, I want the name, obviously I want the name, I want the female, what is the gender, I want phone number as one of the variable or as one of the data, but I want two phone number of that person. I want a landline and I want the phone number, but I can't have two different, suppose let's take the landline to be 111 and phone number to be 222. Now that's very hypothetical, but for our ease, so I have 111 as his landline and 222 as his phone number, but these two are same thing. This is actually a contact detail of that person. I want it to be a single element, but two different stuffs inside a single element. That's where I'll use nested list. So in this list, I'll have another list, and this list will be actually storing this number. So let me show you. Neha will be my first element, gender of Neha at the second position, that is the first index, okay, 0 index, 1 index, and at the third index, that is at the third position. And what index will be this? 0 is Neha, female is 1, and this is 2. I have the phone number, and I have this together, okay. This whole thing, this entire list is one single element at the third position and at the second index, okay. Then comes 26 as next, and on so on. So this is what you call nested. Inside this one single list, I have this another list, and both of them are numbers. That is why I wanted to be them inside one itself. Now let me make more of a nested list within a list within a list, something like that, okay. So we had this name, okay. Suppose I want employee 1 names as one list, where I am storing the name of the employee, the name of the parents, the name of the spouse, the name of the children, everything should be there, all the names. So let's make the name of the person is Mikarsh, Then comes the name of the parents. Now you have mother and father, so they both are included in parents. So this will in itself be a list where the first will be mother. Let's take the mother's name is Sneha. 1 minute. It is Sneha. And the second element is the father's name. It is Rohit. That's the second element. That is the name of the parent. Then the name of wife. Say Sujata is the name of the wife. Then comes children. Now that person can have more than one children. So there will be again a list. So you have this whole big list. Inside that list you have another list, and there is also one more mini list. Okay, so the children's name is Amit and Sana. Okay, so you can see I have lists, two lists within a list, and maybe I can also have, if that person is having grandchildren, so that will be inside another list. So in children's there will be children's, which will be one list. So let's make that will be one list. So this is our list. Okay, let me just show you the whole thing. So after Sujata there is the list for children. Okay, there is a list for children. Now these children's are divided into two children's. Okay, it will be the children's and the grandchildren. So I have to make two lists within this single list, where one of the list will have the children, say Sana, and the other name is Amit, and the other list that is there in this list only, it will be Rohan. Now that's becoming really big, so let me just minimize it so that you can see. But okay, Rohan, and I have another grandchildren whose name is Tarun. Okay, now if you see, let me minimize it more. Now if you see, how is it working? So I have a big list. In that list, first element is Mikarsh, second element is the name of the parents, and because you have two parents I can't have them separate, so they are in a list. The first element of this inside list is the name of the mother and the father. Third element being Sujata, that's the name of the wife. Okay, then comes, okay, I'm sorry, okay, this is for Mikarsh. Okay, let it be. Then the next thing is I wanted a list for children. So you can see this outer list. Yeah, so this is the outer list. Then inside this list I am having a separation. One is for children and the other is for grandchildren. So this is a list. In that list the first element is a list and the second element is also a list. Let me zoom this. So now that you know what are nested lists, let's go on to indexing them. So let me take this big one. Okay, this huge one. I have this in my hand. Okay, let's print this list. Print this list, which is a nested list. What is the problem? I didn't run this cell, I think so. Yeah. Okay, so this is the list that you have. Indexing means what? I want to extract some element. See, actually from this employee one I want the name of the let's take the first grandson. Okay, so this list that you have, the last list that you have, it is actually in that the first list is the son or the children, and the second list that you have, the second element is of that list is the grandchildren, and from that grandchildren I want this Rohan, that is the first grandchildren. So how will you extract this? Mikarsh is 0th element, this Neha Rohit is first, Sujata is second, and this is fourth. So from employee names I want the fourth element. Let's extract this, and obviously you know how to extract, how to do indexing. Square bracket and the name index. So 0, 1, 2, 3, sorry, it's 3. So you can see, okay, from this I got this fourth element. That was a huge nested list. Now from this in this big list, the first element is it itself a list, and the second element is also a list. So which element do I want from this huge list? I don't want the first element, I want the second element of this nested list. So how will I write second? This first one is 0 position and this one is 1 position. So I'll write 1 ahead. Now I get this. From this what do I want? From this I want this first one, Rohan. So that's position of that Rohan is going to be obviously 0 because it's first. Now when I enter, now you can see I extracted Rohan. It was a tough job, right? Let's do a simple one. Let's say I want to extract Rohit from this employee name. So what I'll do? So Rohit is in which element? In the whole big list, in the whole huge, the outer list, in which element? Is it in the first element? No. Is it in the second element? Yeah. So second element position is 1. Mikarsh is 0 position and this list is 1 position. So let's press Ctrl Enter. Now I have Sneha and Rohit extracted. From this Sneha and Rohit list, what do I want? I want the second element. Sneha being the 0th and Rohit being the 1 position. So then I have to write 1. Now you see I extracted Rohit. That's how nested list work. This is how you extract elements. Now what if I want to append a particular element? What if I wanted to append to the children? Now they have a new baby in their house and I want to append that children's name. How will I append that? They are having another girl child. They have a girl child named Simi. Okay, Simi is the name. So what will I do? So let me just print the employee's name over here. That's called appending. Okay, I want to append these elements. Now first I have to actually go and extract that element. So where do I want this appending to happen? I want the appending to happen in this last list, and in this last list also I want this appending to happen in the first element. So I have to actually get to that. So how will I get to that? I will write employee name. Okay, let me just cut this. Then indexing, I have to do indexing. Please give me which element? 0, 1, 2, 3. Give me the third element. Then in the third element, which elements do I want in this third list that is there, which is itself a list? I want the first element. Okay, let's see what I am getting and press the key. So I got Sanamit. Now I want to actually append to this list only. From this nested list, I extracted this first element only, that was the list, and I'll do just simple method dot append, and I'm appending Simi. Okay, now when I print this, let's see how it's printing. Now it appended Simi on its own. After Amit, I get Simi. So this is what you call appending. Now that we know what nested lists are, let's do a copy related to the nested part of the list. So this is a copy that is going to be dealing with only the nested part. That means lists within lists. So these are the two lists you can see. So I have taken a new nested list, that is employee 1. It is having details, that is the name of the employee, the age of the employee, and some certificates the employee has, and experience of the employee. These are some of the information that I am taking, and I have written the certificates in a list because there are more than one certificates, and experience company in a list. So these are the nested parts. This is a list within list. There's a copy that is associated with such kinds of lists, nested lists. Let's see how it works. So let me make a copy of this list, and that also a shallow copy. What is shallow copy? We will see as we do it. For this you have to import a module named for this you have to import a module named copy. What is module? Module is a file that is having many functions together stored in that, and you can use as much required functions you want. So this is the module. The name of the module is copy. Now I'll make a duplicate of the employee 1 list, and let me name it employee 1 copy. This is equal to a shallow copy. How do I make a shallow copy? So from the copy module, so I have to write copy. I'm taking something from the module. So dot, what do I want to take? A function called copy. And what the function will take the value of the list that is to be copied, and that is employee 1. So first what you have to do to make a shallow copy, you have to import the copy module by writing import copy. Then to make a employee 1 copy, you have to say from the copy module, that's why you write the first copy, dot, because you're taking something from that module. What are you taking? The copy function. And inside the bracket, inside the round bracket, you will write what do you want to copy. So I want to copy this list. This is how you make a shallow copy. And we'll run the command. So let me just run this and run this. Now that I have made the copy, let me just show you how does my employee 1 duplicate, or I mean copy, looks like. So you can see it is the same as the original copy. Now what comes into the picture is, what if I make changes to my original list? So let me just make a changes. Let me change the age from 19 to 20. Okay, so how will I do that? I have to say, what is the name of my original list? My original list is employee 1. So I have to say employee 1. From employee 1, change the first element. The first element is this. Okay, so it is the position 1. So this is having the position 0 and this is having the position 1. So I want the 1 position to become 20. So this change that I have made, you have to note, I have made a change that I'm changing the first element, that is the second element, but the first position element to 0 for the original employee 1 list. Okay, now let me print for you both the list and see how it has been changed. So let me just print employee 1 copy and also print employee 1 for you. Let's see the difference. So now you see the copy is same as it was before. You can see it was same, but the change happened only in the original one. So what is this type of a copy doing? It is not making the changes for the non-nested part of the list. This is a non-nested part. This is just a single element inside a list. This is not a list within a list. But now let us make some changes to the nested part of the original list. We can make over here, this is a nested part, this is again a list, so this is also a nested part. So what I'll do, in my employee 1, which element is this? This is the 0th element, this is the first element, this is the third element. Okay, so what I'm doing, in the employee 1 third element, it's a list, so I'm adding something. Append what do you want me to append? Let's append Java. Java is a programming language that person has learned. Okay, one mistake. So now let's run it. Now I have appended this to the original list. Make sure that I am doing changes to the original list. Now let me print a copy of the to list. Let's see if there is any changes. Now what you can see, so the third element, that is 0, so I made a mistake. This is 0, this is 1, this is 2 and this is 3. So I wanted to make changes to the second element. Okay, now let's run. Now you just ignore that Java has come over here because I had run this command already, so this is already being there and there's a new adding of Java. So what is this doing? Any changes that I make to the nested part, that is reflected in the original list and also in the copied list. So this is what shallow copy is for. Shallow copy will make changes to your original, but it will also make changes to your copied list only for the nested parts of the list. For the non-nested part, like I made a changes to this 19, it was only reflected in the list which I made, that is the employee 1, but in the copied list there was no changes. So now this was making changes to the original one. Let's make a change to the copied version and see if there is any changes to the original version. So let me do this change, and that change that I'm doing is, let's take the yeah, let's take the second only and let's append some other language, maybe like we are adding C programming. Okay, now when I print both of them, and let's see if we can see any changes. So C was appended to the copied, the first one is the copied, you see it is appended to the second element, and also C was copied to the original list. But now suppose I want such a copy which is completely independent of this nested list, but it is a copy of this list only. So how can I make? This can be done using deep copy. So this I have to take this. So this is my employee 1. Okay, this is our list. Now this deep copy is also taken from the copy module. So I'll import the copy module. Then I will make the copied list. How do I make a copied list? The name is employee 1 underscore copy. So from the copy module, copy module, take the deep copy function, and what do I want to deep copy? Employee 1. So this is how I make the copy. So employee 1 underscore copy is from the copy module, take, that is why dot, take the deep copy, and what do I want to copy? Copy this employee 1 list. Okay, so this is what I am doing. Next, I will do some changes to my original and see whether this copy is completely independent or not. And where will I make the change? In this nested part, any of the nested part. Let's say we'll make a change to this second position. This is 0, this is 1, and this is second position. So in employee 1, let's append something. So the second position, append, let's say a new programming language this person has learned. Let's say C programming. I have appended this to the employee 1. Now let me print for you both the list, the employee 1 copy and the normal list. Okay, let's see if there is any change. Now what you see, first I have printed the copy. Now you see what was my original, that is only there in the copy, and the C is only appended to the one which I made the change, that was I made the change to the original list. So the second one is the original list and the change is reflected there, but the change is not reflected in the copied item. This is how what you call as deep copy, where the change is reflected only in the one you change. Your copied list is completely independent. So that was too much about list. So let's just summarize it quickly. We learned how to make list, how to extract a single element from the list, then how to extract more than one element from the list, how to find how many elements are there in the list, how to find if a single element is there or not, how to change the elements of a list, how to add new elements to a list at the end of the list using append, how to add any new element at a position where we want, how to extend, that is add a new list to already existing list, how to remove elements from a list by using three methods. One is the delete method, another is the remove method, and the pop method. How to count how many times a single element is there in a list, how to index, index means how to find the position of the list, an element in the list, how to sort, by that I mean how to sort all your elements in either ascending, or we also did reverse, that is descending order, where sort was something where your original list was getting changed when you did the sorting. Then we did sorted, which was not making any changes to our original list. We had reverse also for sorted. Then we did some operations that you can use, that is the plus operator, the multiplication operator onto list. Then we did simple copying to non-nested lists, that was like how you can copy using equal to, how you can copy using the dot copy method. Then came nested list, that is having lists within lists as elements. Then how do you index, how do you extract elements from a nested list, how do you add new elements to a nested list, that was something we did. And then when it comes to nested list, how does copy work in nested list? We did shallow copy, where your nested part changes was reflected. And last but not the least, the deep copy, where your copied list was completely independent of the original. Changes to either of the two was not reflected in the each other. The next video for you to watch is a complete tutorial video on dictionaries in Python.